Joining me now to talk about all this media mess, Eddie Scarry, author and columnist with the Washington Examiner. Eddie, Nicholas Sandmann apparently got his pound of flesh with CNN. We don't know how much. I'm assuming it's a lot. There's certainly not going to be the last one. But my question is not so much about him, but is this now the new norm? Are people going to start going after the media when they go after them?
Well, it's interesting because winning a libel suit against particularly a national news outlet is very difficult. The bar is really, really high. So I was somewhat surprised to see CNN settle, or anyone else for that matter. But if anyone had a case to make, it was Nick Sandmann, it was the Covington Catholic kids, because the things that were said about them and the rush to portray this story as the white male privileged kids against this minority American Indian who was the victim in the way it was first told was completely not true. And there was a rush, and the analysis that we saw all over the TV, CNN, the analysis that we saw in some of the newspapers was completely off mark. And it doesn't look like they were very careful about making sure that the story was what they originally said it was. So there was a pretty strong case there. And if that means people are more successful going forward when they are portrayed in ways that are not true, when they are painted in a false light, when they are libeled, that's a good thing.
Is it a good thing? And I ask that for this reason. Look, nobody hates the American media more than me. I do. I despise them. But I understand the American press's freedom is a valuable freedom we have in this country. Is it really a good thing going forward? You're in the media. I'm in the media, although a lot less professional than you are. I mean, do we want people to be able to just go after them for nothing?
Well, there does need to be a recourse. That's a good thing. But I think that the more ideal outcome of this is that we don't have another situation where just because you see a viral clip online, you suddenly decide, oh, that's exactly what we're looking for. The privileged white males attacking this victim simply because they're a minority. I talk about this at great length in my upcoming book. It's out next month, Privileged Victims, How America's Culture Fascists Hijacked the Country and Elevated Its Worst People. There's an entire segment about exactly this happening. They saw the different journalists, producers, TV bookers saw what was going on in a very short clip online, and they just assumed that this is what's going on. The privileged white males belittling or attacking this poor minority. We saw that wasn't the case, but hopefully that was a lesson for the media going forward, and we won't see any more of that.
Eddie, how does this happen this badly in this case? Because, look, he's one of a million cases. I mean, my goodness, CNN sent a news crew to some poor little old lady's front lawn over a Facebook post at some point in time. But how does it happen this bad on this level? Yes, I know the press is left. That's not exactly news to anybody else out there. Are they texting each other? You know, hey, we got to destroy this kid. Do they just want to get a good tweet out there? Do they want to be first? Is there no editor out there anymore to say, whoa, let's hold up on this? How does it happen to this level where a 17-year-old kid gets destroyed for something totally false?
Well, first, it is just the nature of the media that they thought it was an easy story. I think this happened on a weekend, so that they're looking for things to do. That's number one. But number two is, again, it's all in my book. This is a social justice issue. The social justice stuff is what tickles the media now. It runs the media now. And again, they see a story that they thought this fits the narrative that we're constantly telling day in and day out, compounded by the way that these kids were wearing the MAGA hats. I think that it's possible that this wouldn't have even been a story if they hadn't been wearing the MAGA hats. But again, it reinforced the narrative of privilege versus victimhood, and the privileged are always supposed to be the white straight male. It's never the minority. And yet the delicious irony of this was that it was the media victimizing these kids. The victims in this whole story were actually the kids in this case, and it was the media and all of their chase to tell this story. They were the perpetrators.
I'm not sure I believe this, but hear me out on this. I'm just spitballing a theory to you. We have the freedom of the press in America, and I already said it's a great freedom to have. But can I argue, or what if I wanted to make the argument, that we had the freedom of the press when we had printing presses out there, copiers out there? That's the same thing as saying, and now we have the media all over the place. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything's instant. Everything's right away. You can destroy somebody's life. I have 150,000 followers on Twitter. I can destroy somebody in one tweet in 5 seconds. Should there be new laws? Should there be something more to keep these things reined in? It's essentially, you've got a small child sitting there and, well, we trusted him with a penknife. We might as well trust him with a grenade.
Well, you would think that a certain responsibility on behalf of the press would kick in, particularly when it comes to a case like this, when you are talking about high school children, effectively. Will there be new laws? Like I said, again, from the beginning, is that I was a little bit surprised to see this case go anywhere at all, though they did have a very strong case, the Sandman family and the Covington Catholic kids. They had as good a case as you could probably have, and yet the courts tend to be very reluctant to do anything when it comes to speech, and that includes the press. It's the First Amendment for a reason. It's number one for a reason. So I don't see any new laws happening. I know that's kind of the downside of freedom, but at the same time, again, it's a good thing that we have a recourse.